Real 92.3, Bootleg Kev, DJ Head.
West Coast.
A legend is here.
Man,
we don't get to say that a lot, man.
Never.
Jay Prince is here. What's up, man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all doing, homies?
Hey, I need that for when I drop my album.
Yeah.
I want that. I gotta
Jay
have it.
Prince.
That's why I waited to ask you on camera. I gotta have that for my album.
Yeah.
That here we go again.
Oh, good.
Hey, man, how's the book doing? I got to read parts of it. I didn't get to really dive into it fully, but it's very intriguing stuff in there.
Yeah, thank you, man. The book is doing wonderful. You know, the art and science of respect, you know, against all odds. You know, I went to different publishers in the beginning, and they wanted to, you know, give me 15% of my story, of course. You know, I've done the same thing I've done in the independent music game. It's blaze the trail all over again and
Drop the book yourself, huh?
top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hey, and that's like a whole new world. The book world is like, it's like kind of like, you know, I guess it's probably kind of like the record industry, but it's a different industry.
Hey, why you think that is though? Because I remember I got a chance to talk to Freeway Rick Ross. You know, when he came home,
Right.
and he said the same thing. Like his story, they only wanted to give him like I think it was less than you. I think it was like 5% or something crazy.
Yeah.
But why do you think that is?
Well, you know, you got these dinosaur standards that still exist today, and, you know, we don't have to accept them. And, you know, once again, I've shown that, you know, we can do it without them. I self-publish it.
Right.
You know, it's published by me, and it's outperforming, you know, probably 90% of the other books that's in the market.
That's crazy, man. And then obviously just the history of rap a lot. Like, you know, growing up as a kid, I remember Ghetto Boys was like one of the first albums my mom ever played around me that was like hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that was years ago. You know, today, where's like Rap a Lot at? I've been seeing YB and the Mirror run around with a Rap a Lot chain on. What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Yeah, well, that's because they've been embraced, you know, by Rap a Lot. That's who brought them to fruition. You know, a friend of mine by the name of Guns called me and told me about the buzz that was taking place, and I connected the dots, and we partners on that deal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, YBN, Amir, Almighty J, and Corday.
Oh,
Corday, that's
Corday's a star,
that's
man.
the guy, bro.
Yeah.
That's the little homie.
Yeah.
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 He's a problem.
He killed the BT Cypher tonight, too. Yeah, he did his thing, man. That's crazy. Like, what do you think? Because obviously the music industry has evolved so much with streaming. Has it been hard for you to kind of figure it out? Because I know for a lot, like it's changing every day. The new, it's not the way it used to be. You know what I mean? Like you used to be able to make a living selling CDs out the trunk. You know?
Yeah, things definitely have changed, but, you know, I'm not one-dimensional. You know, I've been able to adjust, and my sons, you know, they know how to adjust. And actually, you know, one of my sons discovered Drake
Of course.
on MySpace. So imagine that. I wouldn't have been looking for him on MySpace. But that's what it's about, diversifying your portfolio, adjusting to today's situations, and we're still relevant.
Wow.
I feel like that happens a lot though. Like the more OGs that embrace the new shit and the new technology and the new way of doing things, I feel like that's what keeps the shit going. I feel like in the South, y'all do it way better than we do here. I'm from LA. I'm born and raised here, and I feel like on the West Coast, we don't got that. We got OGs here, but I don't feel like they embrace the same way y'all do in the South and other regions.
Right.
Do you feel like is that something that like you feel strongly about, embracing the new wave?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You know, I feel like, you know, they the future. So, you know, with that being said, you know, it's a thing that we have that's called Southern hospitality that, you know, the reality is y'all grandmothers, great-grandmothers is from the South. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
If you observe their behavior, they were the same way. You know, we just got to embrace our roots and come back to that day one thing.
Well, not my
100%.
grandma. My grandma she a little racist a little bit.
You told me that.
She from Mississippi. Yeah, it's different for my grandma.
You obviously, you know, your son, you know, for people who don't know, like you said, he did discover Drake, and it's been, you know, well documented Drake's love for Houston and his connection with Rap a Lot. How close was he to signing with Rap a Lot officially? Like I know he's like honorary Rap a Lot, you know what I'm saying? But like, how close was he to actually being on the label?
Well, that was never a goal. You know, the goal was just like we done it. You know what I mean? Partner up with Cash Money and make things happen. Because at the time, my son was on tour with Lil Wayne,
Right.
And my statement to him is, I don't want you, you know what I mean, going on tour, hanging out with Lil Wayne, I'm like, fan or something, come home broke.
Facts.
Send him to Lil Wayne to, you know what I mean, tell him your dad
Soak
gonna
up
give
some
you
game.
$1 million or so to do your record label, and that's how everything came to fruition.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. My dad ain't do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Damn.
That's facts, man. That's crazy. Yeah. Is it like, because I know a lot of people like Drake does Houston Appreciation Week every year. Like, what do you think it is about H-Town and him that there's just such a love and just natural embrace? Is it the Rap-A-Lot connection or?
Yeah, it's a combination of all of that and not forgetting where he came from. You know what I mean? It's Drake is a person that, he loyal to his beginnings.
Of course.
And Houston is one of his beginnings. So it's his way of coming back to the city, giving back in different aspects, and here we are today.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Houston's obviously got such a storied history in hip hop, and it's almost, it's one of my favorite cities when it comes to hip hop, because there were so many eras, like, obviously early on Scarface and the Ghetto Boy shit, and then there was the screwed up era with Slim Thug, Paul Wall, Mike Jones, and Chamillionaire, and obviously UGK from Port Arthur. And what's your favorite era of Houston hip hop? Because there's been like some great times, man.
Yeah, it would have to be the foundation that I helped lay out there. That was my favorite time, because that was a time against all odds. We had East Coast DJs out there monopolizing the airwaves, and they just didn't like our whole sound, our whole country accent, period. So that was exciting for me to, make believers out of non-believers, and, watch how things have evolved today.
What's something you could tell us about Pimp C that not a lot of people know? I know he was super obsessed with having phones.
Bro.
I heard he had a ton of phones. But like Pimp C, UGK is one of my favorite all-time groups, and I know he was a big personality before he passed.
Yeah, I mean, Pimp he was a student of the game. A lot of people don't know Pimp C producing skills.
Yeah, no, it's facts.
That's crazy.
This dude was an amazing producer. He could sing. He was well-rounded all around, artist. So and he just spoke his mind.
He did speak his mind.
Yeah, he did speak his mind. Speaking of that, I remember him going on a not to say, I don't gonna say a rant, but him actually vocalizing that he didn't feel like Atlanta was the South.
Yeah,
because I remember that,
because it's a 3-hour time difference, which made sense because the way I think is logically
right.
Do you share that sentiment, or do you?
Well, it's hard for me to go against him, but I think I just left Atlanta, and I definitely tapped into a lot of homies that's from the South. But, a lot of people is migrating now from all over the place. So, they're trying to water it down, but it's definitely Southern homies.
I feel like when I'm there, I feel like it's the South.
Yeah, and the food is even Southern.
For sure.
Yeah.
Texas is its own thing, man.
It is its own thing.
It is. I've driven through Texas a lot. I've been to Houston a lot. Been to Dallas a lot. It's just like, it's its own vibe, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely its own vibe. It's crazy because I remember as a kid, like when you guys were doing, I remember I would always buy the Source magazine every single month, or Double XL. And I remember when you started to manage fighters.
Yeah.
It was Roy Jones, right?
Yeah. My first fighter was Floyd Mayweather.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what year was that?
It had to be 2000.
So at that point in time, what was like Mayweather's record? Like, was he like where did you catch him at?
I caught him when he was like the low 20s and he was a 130-pound champion.
And how long did that last?
4 years.
Wow.
I managed him 4 years. I helped lay that foundation that he eating off of.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy to think, like.
That's nuts, bro.
You helped Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a relationship that's still intact?
Yeah, me and Floyd cool. We still communicate. There's a mutual respect. Yeah, I mean, he understand where it all began.
Something back then, like what is different? Like I guess, what would you say is the main thing that's different about maybe his mentality from when you first met him?
Oh, well, when I first met Floyd, Floyd was, you know, he was somewhat square. He hadn't broke out.
He wasn't cocky.
Being that Money Mayweather.
He wasn't Money Mayweather.
He wasn't
yet.
Money yet. He was Floyd. Floyd
Pretty
from
boy.
Michigan.
Yeah, he was Pretty Boy Mayweather. Yeah, I remember
pretty
that.
much told him, hey, man, be yourself. You know what I mean? Speak how you want to speak, because he was one way at that first press conference I went to. And then, you know, we hung out. He was another way. And I'm like, you know, I came from the hip-hop culture. I'm
Of
like,
course.
man, be you. When you go in front of that mic, do you. Be you.
Turn it
and
up.
He started being himself.
Yo, how was that? How was the boxing game to you? Because I hear that it's such an extremely corrupt sport, and I hear that it's kind of a weird sport to get into. Was it good to you? Like,
Yeah, I mean, the boxing game and the music game is two cutthroat businesses.
facts.
You know what I mean? But I was able, my first year in the boxing game, to make $1 million plus. So I done something.
It was good
that,
for you.
You know, majority of the managers was in there 20 years never accomplished.
And then so after Floyd, Roy Woods came along, or not Roy Woods. We just had Roy Woods yesterday from OVO. He came in here for an interview.
Not Roy Wood.
Wood.
Not Roy Wood. He talking
Roy
about the
Jones
rapper.
Jr. Roy Jones Jr.
Roy, yeah, that's the homie right there.
Nah, so you know, it's crazy because I remember Roy Jones Jr. and Rap a Lot being synonymous, and like
Yeah.
I even remember when he started rapping, which
Was it called Y'all Must Have Forgot?
y'all must have
Yeah.
forgot.
Y'all must have forgot.
Oh, that shit was crazy. But it's crazy to think like just the career you've had, and like, yo, even like on that end, you were associated with like two of the greatest boxers of all time, probably the greatest boxer, and then like probably
You
top
got to give him that.
top 15 guy. Like,
You got to give Floyd that. Is he the greatest?
Yeah, Floyd definitely one of the greatest. You know, I can't put him above Ali, but he's definitely
he's
one
up.
of the
He's
greatest.
top 3.
Yeah.
He's like unarguably top 3.
Nobody could debate that.
Yeah, I don't think you could debate if he's top 3. I think you could debate if he's 1.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. Did you ever get into managing like any other athletes besides boxers?
No, I hadn't went over in that arena. You know, I love boxing. Boxing was always my first love. So I like turned down a lot of football players, baseball, basketball.
They want it in.
Yeah, you know, boxing, that's a passion of mine.
100%, man. 100%. Yo, it's crazy because I like when I was a kid, I always was a big fan of you guys and No Limit. When No Limit had their run,
Yeah.
and I remember how like I feel like you guys kind of went hand in hand. Like I know Master P had a lot of respect for you guys. There'd always be collabs or shout outs on records
Right.
and whatnot. Can you kind of take us back to that day and like your guys' dynamic back then between Jay Prince and Master P in the 90s, you know, like that was like the cream of the crop for the independent rap game, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Master P, you know, Cash Money, Tony Draper.
Tony Draper, Suave
Yeah.
House.
All of those guys was, you know, my students. You know, I inspired them and they inspired me. And, you know, we supported one another along the journey. I was just with P in Atlanta, last week, a week or so ago, and I always had this uncanny love for P because P has always kept it real when I was watching him and when I wasn't watching. And character is who you are when nobody's watching. So the man got character.
It's important.
Yeah.
That's correct, man. Do you ever sit around with people and they just want to pick your brain? Because it's like you were ahead of a lot of shit. Like it's a lot of stuff that you were on the front line of before it was a thing.
Yeah.
Is that something like that do you tap in personally, or you keep people around to do that for you?
Yeah.
Because I know you said your sons, but I'm just saying, do you personally like?
Yeah, a combination of both. You know, that's the reason I decided to write the book, The Art of Science of Respect, because, you know, I believe readers are leaders, and I wanted to lead by example, you know, and share a lot of my wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and blueprints and formulas in the book to, you know, help my brother.
Facts.
That's dope.
Soak up some game and read the book.
Man, hell yeah.
What'd be some advice you'd give? You know, it's crazy because I feel like, you know, in some ways, like the music industry is better than ever because there's no middleman to
There's no
stop you from
rules.
releasing your shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the younger guys kind of embrace each other, but then like, God bless Yellow Beezy who's recovering. He got shot over the weekend. And I'd heard that it was like some sort of
Rap shit.
internet beef shit with some comedian who passed that was in Dallas as well. But like somebody like that who's young, coming up in the streets, who's maybe 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like
shoot 'em some advice.
what's some game that you would give some guys like that?
You have to your move have to be with structure. You know what I mean? Once you like cross over from the other side and make it, you can no longer move and roll the same way. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys waste their money on strippers in a lot of other different ways and don't like put the right protection on their ass.
Facts.
And you know what I mean? You have to do that. You have to figure out the formula in doing it. You know what I mean? Even when you roll. For example, I would have never, the way Pac got hit should have never happened.
Right.
If he was rolling with proper structure. But a lot of these guys don't know the structure of rolling and doing things, and I shared a lot of that in my book.
It's almost like that. Like people look at that as like some overhead that like isn't needed, like security, like your protection, like But you fucked that off at the strip club anyway. Right. You might as well that's money you should.
Yeah, nothing is more important in your life. Your objective when you leave the house every day should be to make it back. You know what I mean? And when you have this different jewelry and your lifestyle go to a different level, it requires certain maintenance.
True.
You know what I mean?
Because you become a target.
Yeah, you can't ignore that. If you do, you become a victim. So.
One of my big homies always said, I gotta go home. No matter what happened, I'm going home.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the same thing. One thing I always wanted to ask you about back in the day, I don't know if you could talk about it or not, but please let me know. Was there a rap union? Were you guys going to form a rap union? Is that true? I mean, it's a hip hop folklore, but that's true.
No, that's a
true story. Was it the Irv?
Yeah, me, Irv, and Suge.
That's a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story.
That's crazy.
What year was this?
Oh man, it had to be the early
99, 2000.
Yeah, I'm thinking the early 2000s, and everybody got hit by the feds simultaneously.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Fed cases came for everybody.
I remember that actually.
They came for everybody. I remember that, and that's something I always wanted to ask you about.
No, it's a real thing. A lot of people think that's like a joke, but that's the way it went down.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How far did that get? Like, because I was just watching the Joe Budden podcast, and they were talking about that with Chance the Rapper, like, because he's an independent artist, and to have a union for rappers to make sure like certain things are in place, like any other line of work. You know what I mean?
No, it didn't get far at all. You know what I mean? It was a conversation piece we had. We talked about, we planned, and I think, one of the guys publicized it, and all hell broke loose.
That's when
came for everybody.
when they caught feelings, the feds.
So, do you think that was more of a money thing, or do you think it was a race thing? Because 3 black business owners was colluding to make this to form this union for rappers, or do you think it was more like y'all playing with our money type of situation?
It was some kind of conspiracy. You know what I mean? I don't know the depth of it. You know what I mean? But they didn't like it.
They didn't like it
and done something about it.
That's crazy.
That is true,
bro. That's all I ever want to ask you about, because I could never ask her. I didn't know him like that, and Suge got locked up before I could talk to him about it.
Right.
But
I was with Noriega a few days ago. We were in Malibu having lunch, and somehow I brought up that I was interviewing you, and he was like, "Oh yeah, man, back in the '90s, or the early 2000s when I used to move around a lot, like I would always make sure I would check in with Jay Prince when I'd come to Texas, just out of respect, And he was like, it's one of those guys that if you're going to come to Texas and have that kind of background, because a lot of people don't know that Noriega comes from the shit,
right.
It's just a respect thing, and this kind of has been brought up more recently. The whole checking in thing, is that something that is still something that you kind of consider like a salute of respect? Like when someone comes to your city, would you like to hear from them? Or
yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily. It's something that's not obligatory, something I don't demand. But if I was an artist and you're smart, because there's a lot of wolves out there in Texas, like it is in everywhere else.
Right.
And they always looking for new blood or new people to come in to
a meal.
Try to do something. So, a wise man would want to affiliate himself with, somebody that's gonna run the wolves off. or just a token of respect to one of the guys to sit down with him or walk with him. Everybody know what that means.
True.
So it's all in the individual. You know what I mean? If they feel they tough and don't need it, then okay, that's fine. If it's different, then we embrace and look out for those that we got respect for and show respect,
and vice versa.
Yeah, like I felt like the the 6ix9ine thing happened, with your son, and I felt like they kind of handled that like respectfully, like, yo, look, you're not, like, we're looking at, like, you ain't coming in here,
right?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just can't just pull up without, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like they
was looking out.
Yeah, no,
because that's a club full of motherfuckers that is looking at him.
Yeah, most definitely, and when a man campaign everywhere in every other city and state, and then come and just want to stand beside you as if, you know what I mean, he with you, then, bullets don't have no name.
Facts.
So you can't allow anybody, campaigning and
that kind of energy to come stand next to you, because like you said,
you never know where you're going to get elected.
True.
You know what I mean? You keep campaigning, you're going to get elected eventually.
That's a bar.
Woo! Bars.
Yeah.
You not rapping? You know. I wanted to ask you about I remember Drake just did the LeBron show, and he talked about the whole Kanye thing. Have you heard this record that he talked about?
Yeah, I heard the ingredients.
Really?
The record, and
it was. Is it as bad as he?
As vicious?
Yeah, most definitely. It would have straight killed some careers.
Now,
And,
I'm on the side that I feel like it probably would have been worse for Kanye than Pusha. Is that true?
It's a true statement.
Damn.
Because obviously, Pusha comes from a certain pedigree in hip hop, and I always thought, like, if someone's gonna get the worst end of this, it's gonna be Kanye.
Facts.
I would have to agree with that, and I'm glad that it didn't go down that way, because I didn't want to see nobody livelihood just get totally destroyed.
It was that bad.
Yeah, it could have been.
And so based on what you heard, Kanye would have got the worst end of that diss.
No doubt about it.
Wow, that's crazy.
It wouldn't have been good for either, but definitely.
Now,
what do you think it would have? Do you think it? Because I remember Drake saying that he felt it would have took him to a place that he didn't necessarily want to go. As a human, as a person, or whatever, is that something that's also, you feel like that's true?
Oh yeah.
We would have looked at him differently, or
I think Drake not the type of person. He never, wanted to, like, he used to cut for Kanye, so he never wanted to, like, end that man everything, his whole movement. What
Kanye directed his first video, best I ever had. Kanye directed that video.
That's a song that could have went there.
Damn.
So
wow,
I'm glad it did, and I spoke on it to prevent it from happening, and it's a win for everybody at this point.
Like I said, there's no secret to Pusha's past. Obviously I wasn't with Pusha T selling drugs back in the day, but
no, I wasn't either.
But
for the record,
his pedigree in hip hop, and a lot of the stuff checks out. Did you have a past relationship with those guys, with Clips, like back, when they were coming up at all?
No, not that I can recall, but from what I'm told, he has mentioned me in a rap or something. So he's aware of my movement.
Of course,
but,
he should be.
And I probably, I'm sure if they came to Houston back in the day, we may have crossed paths.
Got you. What are your thoughts on everything going on with Kanye? Just as a fan of hip hop, or just a fan of people, like Woody. He's kind of. I think that a lot of what he said at the Trump meeting was overlooked a bit.
Yeah.
And it was maybe outshined by the fact he was kissing the guy's ass, like, kind of blatantly. But I think like he brought up Larry, like freeing Larry Hoover and shit like that, which I think a lot of people kind of are looking over.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. You know what I mean? That when he done that, that was the strongest I ever saw him be.
Sitting at the table with the president, mentioning freeing Larry Hoover.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I mean? I love that to the fullest, because, I really feel that the system is corrupt, where when it comes to the time that they're giving people for drugs
it's the
and
worst.
nonviolent
and the fact
crime.
that it hasn't, like, those sentences haven't been shortened,
Reduced.
with time.
Yeah.
Because I think we've all kind of grown as a society to realize that the drug shit isn't that serious.
Yeah.
And that in the 80s, the drug laws, the fact that if you had cocaine as opposed to crack,
Yeah.
you got less time,
Yeah.
was obviously race targeted.
Oh man, to
All
the
those
fullest.
sentences should be,
Yeah.
100%
To the
shortened.
fullest. Is race motivated, and you know what I mean. It's like a dinosaur. It's been going on forever, and it needs to be changed. The regime needs to be changed.
100%. Would you ever run for politics?
Yeah, no, I don't.
I know
don't
you got to
think
pass,
so.
but I feel like in Houston, I mean, you got a great chance.
You would win. Hands
Yeah, I
down.
think you would win.
You'd be mayor, governor, or some shit. Alderman. Run for alderman.
Yeah, I don't know. You never say never, so you never know.
There you go. Trey the Truth, right?
Yeah.
I feel like everything that went on with it when y'all had the hurricane and
Which was insane.
it was
man.
crazy down there. And I feel like everything that Trey was doing, he
Shout
still
out Mr. Rogers too.
shout out to Mr. Rogers too. He still got that thing on his name where it's like we can't fuck with him, we don't support him.
It's
or whatever.
one radio station for
You
the
know what I'm
record.
saying? And I feel like that what he was doing should have been somebody should have been screaming that shit from the mountaintops. Like him and Mr. Rogers really was in the streets.
Right.
I was watching that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I actually donated, and I know my boy Charlamagne and them, they all donated and they all got behind him.
Yeah.
Is that something that's like, do you feel any kind of way about that Trey still get that? He does Trey Day every year.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, I definitely feel some way about that. I don't think that should have ever happened.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Trey is being discriminated against, unnecessary. It's personal.
It's a single
you know?
person.
Yeah, it's personal.
It's one person at one radio station.
Yeah, it's personal, and you know what I mean. It has spread, to the other powers that be.
Spread to throughout
But
their
it's
spread throughout
totally
Radio 1.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally unnecessary.
I feel like it's really because I've been out there and I've been to the station and this and that, and when I actually saw the shit on the thing, and I was like, damn,
You talking about at the box?
it's real.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like you're the only person that can have a conversation with Terry Thomas to get that to go away. Has that ever
Yeah.
happened?
No, I never had a conversation with her, and
All the years you haven't ever spoken with her?
no, I never. Well, I spoke with her,
Right.
Not
Not
regarding,
regarding
that
Trey.
situation.
Yeah.
But different formulas can change things. You know what I mean? And me and Trey had a lot of conversations.
got you.
And he's a good guy, man.
Well, I just feel like it's just so much good that he does for the city.
Yeah, it outweighed the bad tremendously.
Facts.
He's a solid guy, man.
That should have never happened. I mean, that's just the way.
Were you affected by the hurricane? Like, that hit the city?
Yeah, in some aspects, definitely different family members and things like that was affected. But, the job Trey done, Bun B, Slim Thug,
Yes.
myself, we all,
Pulled together.
contributed tremendously.
100%, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite rappers, and I think the guy that not a lot of people mention in their top 5 where he should be up there is Scarface.
Yeah.
And obviously he's probably the guy who's most associated with Rap A Lot Records.
Right.
All the way back to the Mr. Scarface album.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I'm like, what's up with Face? I know he was touring late last year. I saw him on the road and
Right.
and moving around, and I'm just is there new music coming from Face?
Yeah, I spoke with Face. We communicated today. He's actually doing some things with Irv Gotti, I think, on the on Irv's show. Irv have a show.
The show on BT.
Yeah.
Where they act
so-
out the songs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Each episode's based on a rap song.
Right. So they doing some things together that's coming soon.
100%. Yo, it's crazy. Like his discography is so insane. Like, what's your favorite Scarface album?
Yeah.
And I know that I might sound like the new booty to say The Fix, but The Fix was so amazing.
I like May.
That album was dope.
I
But
think that's the best Nas verse I've ever heard on The Fix.
Oh yeah.
On In Between Us, that
Yeah.
verse was crazy.
What's your favorite?
But my song, though, the favorite song had to be The Mind Playing Tricks.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? And that one begun with him for his solo album. And that song done wonders for us, kicked in every door.
Did that help kick off the label officially? Mind Playing Tricks.
Big time. I couldn't get radio or video before that.
It's a and it's so funny because it's one of those. It's like one of the few Halloween's coming up. It's like one of the few
for sure.
Halloween hip hop records where you like you go
It's
watch
one
that
of the
video.
few that we could play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's my birthday.
Oh, Halloween, huh?
Your birthday's October 31st?
Yeah, so it's no accident.
Oh,
It's no
shit.
accident.
Song, yeah.
It's so crazy. I feel like I run into Bushwick Bill every few weeks out here.
Is that right?
I see him all the time.
Oh boy.
Fun.
He's always a little intoxicated, but a nice guy.
This is just something for me to aspire to get to where you at. What do you think is like the biggest purchase that you've probably made off of being in entertainment? Like, what's the biggest thing that you probably done? Where either that it was a smart move, or you like, man, I shouldn't have did that shit.
How about this? What's the dumbest thing you've ever fucked some money off on?
Well,
Did you buy a snowmobile living in Texas or something?
Iced out snowmobile.
you know, my biggest move was, I wrote about it in my book, my transition from the streets to corporate America. You know what I mean? If I hadn't made that transition, then I wouldn't be able to sit here and have this conversation.
Right.
So, my biggest move by far was walking away from that small mentality over to the
Hitting
big
small
picture.
licks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of it's having the quick and easy
Longevity.
lick versus the long
play.
one.
Something that's gonna take 5 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
What is something for anybody watching? Like, obviously, you're real smart, accomplished businessman. Like, if someone's sitting on some extra money or they're coming up, like, what would be your advice to where they should put their money or where they should invest it? Because there's a big
You invest it where their gifts and passions lie. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing like investing where you gifted and your passion lie, because your work ethic gonna be relentless.
because your work is your pleasure.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be work.
100%.
Yeah. So
Facts.
it's good to align
Would you
that.
suggest people investing in the stock market or the real estate game?
Well, if it was me, I would choose real estate over stock market any day. But sometimes you have these guys as stock market specialists that know that game better than real estate.
That is true, man.
So once again, it's about what you know, what you're passionate about.
Speaking of that, real quick, last thing. Rick Ross got a thing where he's buying back the blocks, they buying up property and stuff like that. I know a lot of that's happening in Detroit too, where a lot of people are going in, buying a property and repurposing it for other people.
Detroit's real estate is really cheap.
Yeah. Is that anything going on like that with Houston? Because I know the hurricane obviously fucked a lot of shit up, but is that stuff going on? Are you a part of that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I just own a lot of property in Houston, period. You know what I mean? I believe in buying in the hood. But, I noticed like Slim Thug and a lot of the other brothers purchasing things and,
Yeah, Slim Thug's been killing it on real estate before he was popping as a rapper.
Yeah, God, he not making any more land.
True.
Facts.
Yeah, that's the way that is.
Get as much as you can.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
He said, yeah.
Ain't that the truth? If anything, the global warming is making there less land.
Yeah. Everybody gonna be living on an island pretty soon.
Hey, what is outside of the Rap-A-Lot circle, like as Jay Prince, the fan of music, who's some of these like new artists that you're listening to that you're fucking with, that you're a fan of?
Oh man, I'm loving the Amigos, you know what I mean?
Of course.
I think the Amigos is one of the hottest. They like the hottest group I ever saw.
I think they might already be top 5 rap group ever.
Yeah, I mean,
They're knocking at least.
They are. I would put them.
They're like 5, 6, 7.
I mean, with the amount of hits and consistency.
Yeah.
We're living in the time, so we don't see it.
We don't know. We have to wait until.
Yeah.
Nah, they've had a crazy run. They've had a crazy run.
So I'm jamming them. I'm jamming Drake. You know what I mean? And I'm jamming YBN.
Of course.
Yeah.
Shout out to the YBN kids, man. They're good
yeah.
kids.
Yeah, they coming up. They the future.
And they got them Rap-A-Lot chains.
Oh yeah.
It's lit. Hey, well, the book's out, The Art and Science of Respect. And this is a book that obviously people, if they don't even know anything about you or your story, it's just some game to soak up, some motivation, some lessons in life that you've learned that you're projecting in the book. What's one thing that you would tell somebody who's watching this who don't know who you are, why they should grab the book?
To figure out how to turn nothing into something. You know what I mean? To get the blueprints, the formulas that I use to win with. You know what I mean? And if anybody that want to win. Anybody that's focused on longevity, all the keys that, myself, Master P, Cash Money, Tony Draper, all of us use, then, I kick that off. You know what
Is
I
the
mean?
is the book available? Are you tapped into audiobooks?
Oh yeah, I definitely.
Do you read the book?
Yeah, it's narrated.
Oh,
by
see, I
me.
want to hear
Yeah,
that.
I'm buying the
buy it
audiobook
now.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm buying the audiobook. I
the-
was gonna get a signed copy, but I do audiobooks.
Hey, the last thing I wanted to ask you, we finally got the Carter Five. There was that long, drawn out, situation between Birdman and Wayne. Did you do any mediating in there? Because I feel like you might be a guy who could, maybe bring some resolution to that. I don't know if you did or if you had any part of that, but it was good to see that happen.
Yeah, no, I was glad to see Wayne get what was coming to him. But,
Facts.
My son, I'm still dealing with that issue. Well, my son
Is owed some money with Baby owes some back end on Drake.
Well, and me and Universal are making progress right now, so I'm hoping that wrap up.
Does that put a hindrance on your relationship with Baby?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I hadn't spoke to him or his brother in a long time because, this is something that has to be fixed.
I agree.
No matter what the excuse may be, my boy got to be paid.
I agree, man. He found Drake.
Yeah.
What is I guess what is the resolution to that? Like, is it I mean, because obviously you and Slim and Baby have probably known each other for so long. You'd almost think it'd be as easy as you guys just getting on the phone and just having a real ass fucking conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's deeper than that when you don't have it. You know what I mean?
When you don't got the money to pay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's a process. And, time have to take care of them things. And the people that bag you have to come to the table and make things.
Do you
right.
think that is what the issue is with? Because I feel like we hear something every month about a producer or somebody who hasn't gotten paid involved. Do you think it's because Baby and Slim maybe don't have as much money as we all think they have?
Well, I can't speak for everybody. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You don't know that
why they didn't get paid. You know what I mean? But we're going to get paid. It's a matter of time. But I know you can't squeeze blood out of turnip.
Damn.
So,
That's another bar. Write that one down, too.
We will not be seeing a Big Timers concert in Houston anytime soon. I'm sorry. Baby will not be performing anytime soon.
Big time concert in Houston.
There will not be what happened to that boy
No
performance.
celebration dinners at Papados. You know what I'm saying? West Coast.
Straight up. Yo, we appreciate you coming through, Jay Prince, man. You're a legend.
you.
And
A legend, bro. Thank you.
everyone go support the book. And besides the YBN kids, any new Rap A Lot music coming out? I know Bun B's album is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Great. I think not enough people are talking about the Bun album that just dropped. But anything else coming up?
Well, not that I know of. Nothing other than me getting ready to do this movie or this series.
And this is a series.
Yeah, on my life, on the book.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Are we going to Netflix with it? Or are you going to shop it?
The door is open right now.
So are you self-producing it and then shopping it around?
I'm just weighing out the options.
That's a beautiful. Who plays you?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be a good one.
I can't wait to see it, man. Jay
Man,
Prince, thanks
thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you, bro.
Real 92.3. Go get the book.